Hi all, and thanks for watching. This is the 94th video in my Kingdom Come Deliverance playthrough, and we're working on the second part of Woman's Lot with Johanka, so we're just going to get back into game and continue on. Alright, so I just finished the pilgrimage here, and I just have to make a donation to the church. So let me just... Oh, I've got a... Here, drinking. What's this one? When you drink yourself to oblivion, you wake up at home in bed. None of your inventory items are gone. Okay, I'm going to take that. But what I want to do is just switch some of my equipment back over. Okay, I think that's good. Father Godwin here.
God
Let's
be
just
with you.
light a torch. It's a little dark in the church here.
I want to make a donation to the church as a token of repentance for the things I did wrong. Here you are.
And I gladly accept your offering, my son. I'll pray for your forgiveness. But I'm curious, how come you got so devout all of a sudden? Has something happened?
Johanka sent me to do penance to the Virgin Mary and make a donation to her church.
Johanka?
Yes, Father, it's a long story.
Not to worry, lad. I had to listen to a lot of long stories at the university in Prague. Each of the masters tried to speak longer than the others so as not to appear less learned. I can handle it, believe me.
Well, Johanka takes care of the sick and wounded in Sasau, but she's been having these visions of the Virgin Mary and then preaching to the people about it. She speaks completely differently than she usually does. Like some kind of angel.
Damn. That sounds very, I don't know, Henry. You wouldn't be making it up by any chance.
No, I swear by the Blessed Virgin, it's all true. I was there myself.
I see. Well, that is really extraordinary. And what do the people think of all this?
The Sasau folk go and listen to her preach, and that's not all. Then they go to her looking for help in making amends. And she helped a lot of people like that.
That's interesting. Very interesting indeed. The masters of Prague ought to hear this. Some might even agree. And what about you, Henry? What do you think of it?
I believe everything she says. Johanka would never lie, and she's helped so many people. She's the most virtuous person I know. The Virgin Mary couldn't have chosen anyone better. And what do you think? You're a learned man.
It's hard to say. Maybe I should go to Sasau and see for myself. Thank you for telling me, lad. One thing is certain, though. There are interesting times ahead. That you can be sure of.
Interesting? In a good way or a bad way?
That's in God's hands, son.
What isn't? Farewell, Father.
Wait a moment. You came here the whole way from Sasau on foot?
I did. I made a pilgrimage of penance. I stopped to pray at every shrine and cross along the way. By the way, that shrine before Talmberg, by the path from Sasau, I don't know what happened to it, but someone should see to getting it fixed.
You noticed, eh? Yes, I know about that. It's just that there hasn't been the means to get it fixed, see? It just occurred to me, this affair with Johanka reminds me of a manuscript I made a copy of once. You might find it interesting. If you want, you can come with me and I'll find it for you. Or stop by the presbytery later.
All right, Father. Thanks.
See you later.
Okay. So I guess we'll follow the father over.
God save you, Henry.
Oh, close the door in my face. Get that a lot.
Where could I have put it? I knew it was a mistake to put it in a safe place. Ah, here it is.
About that manuscript, Father.
Ah, excellent. Look, I found it. Copied excerpts from the work of Magister Parisiensis.
The who?
Matthew of Yanov, the master of Paris as he was known. He studied there. He was a university master. He traveled a lot and was very learned. Did I tell you about Jan Hus?
Oh, yeah. I'm not likely to forget that in a hurry.
Ha ha, right. Me neither. Anyway, as I was saying, Hus wasn't alone, see? There are other masters who have similar ideas. Just that Hus knows how to talk about it better than anyone. But this Matthew, he was one of those who thought much the same as Hus.
And what use will that be to me?
I can't say, but it came to mind when you were talking about Johanka, because Matthew wrote about similar things, about women who had visions and the like. I've got a copy here. I'll lend it to you if you promise to bring it back. You do know how to read, don't you?
Of course I do.
By Christ, lad, you're a regular scholar. Here you are, then. I'm sure it's in good hands. You can bring it back to me when you're passing again.
Ah, all right, thanks.
You're welcome, lad. Now run along and don't keep Johanka waiting.
Matthew of Genoa manuscript. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I think I'll read all of this at the moment, but if you'd like to read it, I'll just pause here for a moment on the page, and you can just pause the video and give it a read. I'll flip over to the next page here for you. Alright, so I'll get back to that. Oh, that was just from a different quest. Okay, so we've made our donation. So we're to head back to Johanka. Alright, so let's just get on our horse. No more walking needed. Excellent. Okay, so back to the monastery. It's kind of late in the day. We're going to end up getting there at night. Someone waiting. Wonder if this is a night or something. He's got a halberd, I believe that's called. It's not a spear. Whoa, what the heck?
No.
Oh, he's doing quite a bit of damage. I don't know why he attacked me. Come on. Need to get away from the horse. Is this someone that... block. Oh. He's got me bleeding. Oh, come on. Oh, I'm gonna end up dying here. I need to heal up. I can barely see. Oh. I'm about to die. Come on. Holy, how do you fight him? Oh, I got him. Now I just need to take something quickly. Okay. Can't use that in combat. Ah, dang. Okay. And bandages. What's going on? I can't see anything. Where is he?
Hey, who's there? What's going on?
Okay. Nope.
What?
Where'd he fall? Did he run off? Oh, right there. Well, I really didn't expect that. Okay. So that marigold concoction is healing us. Good match. Swore you lost. I can't believe I won. Alright, let's head on to the monastery here. Oh, too overloaded. He had some decent armor. What are mine? 19. Not quite as nice. Jeez, I couldn't see there at the end. I was so close to death. Okay, let's have a look at this guy. Another guy standing on the road. See him, though? Hmm. Strange. I don't see anyone.
Yeah.
Said he was standing on the road. Perhaps off to the side. What about behind the bush here? An interesting sight. Actually, I don't see much. It seems unremarkable. Nothing hidden here. All right, then. Let's continue on. Seeing as I obviously can't find anyone there. So I'm pretty beat up, and I've got that extra equipment. I am at 100% health, but I probably look really beat up. Okay, anything else? Some rotten food. I can sell that. So I'll just rest here for a couple of hours. And then we'll head over to the bathhouse and then we'll go see Johanka. I was thinking that first fellow was one of those knights that stand on the road and challenge you, because he was just kind of standing at attention. But as soon as I got near him, he just started pummeling me. That was a really close battle. I was pretty sure I was going to die there. Okay, so at least now we have a save. Wait, my torch here. Let's just quickly go head over to the baths, and then we'll head over to the monastery there, talk to Johanka.
Greetings. What do you need?
I'm interested in your services.
Uh-huh. And what do you want?
A bit of everything. Heal my wounds, have a proper bath. Oh, and my garments are in need of laundering.
I'm sure you'll be extremely satisfied. God be with you.
Well, that's not bad. Only an hour to heal up. Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing to see here. On your way.
What? Shrine's gone.
Where's Johanka?
She's locked up at the rat house. Orders of the bishop.
Locked up? For what?
For heretical speeches. Run along now. If you want to chat about it, go and talk to that monk who smells like an apothecary shop. He's in a flap about it too. May the Lord watch over you.
Okay, let's talk to Father Nicodemus here. Or Brother Nicodemus.
What happened to Johanka?
Nothing good, I'm sorry to say. She was locked up by the papal inquisitor Bishop Yaroslav of Benishov. It seems he somehow caught wind of this preaching of hers. He's accused her of spreading heresy and had her placed under arrest.
Oh, I wonder if that's because I mentioned something to Father Godwin.
Jesus Christ. What's going to happen to her?
I don't know, Henry. It all depends on the Inquisitor and how he decides. The accusations brought against Johanka are very serious.
Well, we must do something.
Well, you can try talking to Bishop Yaroslav. He can tell you more. As a servant of the royal hetman, your name ought to carry some weight with him. But watch your step. This matter is entirely in the hands of church law, so you mustn't overestimate your lay authority here.
Right. I'll go and see this Bishop Yaroslav of Benishov.
May God go with you. And thank you, Henry. I'm glad you're standing up for Johanka. If you need anything, do come and see me.
Good luck, then.
Okay, so we're to see the Inquisitor. Talk to the Inquisitor. So he's right there. Must be upstairs. Is it you? No, Brother Porter. This must be him.
Sir, I am...
Henry of Skalitz, from the garrison of the Royal Hetman, Sir Radzig Kobyla. I've heard a lot about you, my son. I'm pleased to meet you.
Bishop Yaroslav? Sir? My lord, to what do I owe your interest in my humble self?
I was told you survived the massacre in Skalitz and warned the Townburg garrison. You tracked down the raiders of a stud farm in Neuhof, wasn't it? To their hideout in the woods. And then you led Sir Radzig and his armed company there and joined bravely in the skirmish, and even killed their notorious leader by your own hand. And I believe you have many other deeds to your name. That's quite remarkable, considering your age, is it not?
Well, you're too kind, Monsignor. I'm just trying to do what's right, and what's needed.
Quite rightly, too, my son. I expect we'll be hearing more about you. But I assume you didn't come here to exchange pleasantries. Or am I mistaken?
No, Monsignor, you're quite right. I'm here about Johanka.
Naturally. I'd be quite surprised if it were otherwise. So, tell me what's on your mind.
How did you find out about Johanka?
Word came to me of what was happening here. That some young girl was claiming to speak for the Blessed Virgin. I traveled here immediately, as my duty demanded, and observed events in Sasau incognito, in order to examine the matter at first hand.
I see. Why did you have her imprisoned?
Because she broke the promise she made to me and persisted in actions that bear the signs of heresy.
And what will happen to Johanka now?
I must weigh the gravity of her transgressions and investigate these alleged visions of hers. I consider it very improbable that she is indeed being visited by the Blessed Virgin. Nevertheless, I cannot at this time rule it out entirely.
So you think it could be true? In that case, Johanka hasn't done anything wrong.
It's not that straightforward. Even if her visions were real, she was at fault for interpreting them as she saw fit and preaching to the people.
When will you decide, Monsignor?
As soon as I am fully informed of the facts. Although it seems the matter is a little more complicated than I first thought. I will call Johanka and the witnesses, question them, and then pronounce a verdict.
And will there be anyone there to defend Johanka?
Do you doubt my judgment?
I would never be so bold, sir. But surely it would be only just that someone should speak for Johanka about all her good deeds and so forth?
Naturally, I will also question those who would speak in her defense. Since you are interceding, I expect you have someone in mind?
Yes. Actually, me.
As I surmised. But this matter does not directly concern you. Why should I allow you to appear before the court?
Johanka is my neighbour, and I have a Christian duty to come to her aid. I can't just stand by and do nothing.
I have to concur with you on that. Your concern seems sincere, so I will grant your request. Very well. You will defend Johanka. You may speak in her defense if you so wish, and you may also bring witnesses. I will question any such witnesses, and naturally I shall question Johanka too.
Thank you, Monsignor. In that case, I'll need to speak to Johanka first.
That won't be possible. It's forbidden by the Inquisition procedure. Until the entire matter is resolved, Johanka can speak only to me and no one else. I would like to expedite the matter. The trial will take place in Sasau Church in 3 days' time at the latest. Come and let me know when you're ready to proceed. In the meantime, I will continue my investigation.
Very well, Monsignor. I had better get on with it then, sir. Farewell.
Before you go, you know Johanka longer than anyone else. You spent a lot of time with her, as I've discovered. Tell me, my son, truthfully, what do you think of this whole affair?
About the Virgin Mary? I believe the Virgin does visit her. Johanka is honest. She wouldn't lie about such a thing. And the things she says sound truthful and compelling. It really does seem like a heavenly revelation. Who else could it be from? But the Virgin Mary.
The origin of these so-called visions of hers must be investigated. But thank you for your candor. Is there anything else you can tell me?
She's worried about Matthias. He's from Skalitz too, and she's very fond of him. But he was wounded in a raid on Merhojed recently, and since then he's been lying in a fever. Johanka believes that if she does what the Blessed Virgin wants of her, Matthias might be healed.
Interesting. Anything else?
Johanka is an honest girl, and virtuous. She's a good Christian, who attends church and thinks of others.
Good. Please continue.
Well, before, in Skalitz, Johanka was sort of, well, just a simple village girl. I never imagined I'd hear her talking the way she does now. She's completely transformed.
A simple village girl. I see. Do continue.
Johanka helped a lot of people. She worked her fingers to the bone helping Brother Nicodemus with the sick and injured.
That is certainly commendable. What else can you tell me about her?
Maybe. She didn't treat everyone equally. She took better care of her former Skalitz neighbours than of the other patients, of course.
It's understandable, yes. Some people are dearer to her than others, but whether by doing so she sinned. Anything else, Henry?
That's about all I can tell you.
Thank you, my son. One more thing before you go. Let me remind you that it's your Christian duty to report anything suspicious going on concerning the Church and the true faith, if you're aware of anything of the sort in these parts. If you prove yourself a commendable servant of the Church, I would also take that into account in judging Johanka's case.
All right, Monsignor. I'll bear that in mind.
God be with you.
Okay, so it sounds like he wants me to spy on people while I'm doing this. So what do we have to do? Okay, prepare for the trial. So we have to get testimony from all these people. Well, let's see. So it seems everyone's here in the monastery. Oh, Pavel, over at the tavern. And then we have a few here. Okay. Brother Nicodemus. So let's go see him first.
Brother Nicodemus,
You've heard something?
the Inquisitor has decided that Johanka will be tried, but he's agreed that I can defend her.
That's really quite unusual. It must mean he hasn't come to a clear conclusion yet.
Yes. I'll get her out of it.
I'm afraid it may not be that easy. The thing is, I expect Johanka will say the same things before the court that she's been preaching.
What are you saying?
Well, I've been thinking about what she's been saying, and it seems to me her preaching has a certain progression. Are you acquainted with the notion of the three orders of man?
Not really, no.
It's like this. It's said that everyone has their God-given place and purpose on earth. Laboratores, oratores, and bellatores. Those who work, those who pray, and those who fight. The common folk are born to work, to reap the fruits of the earth, and to obey the laws of God and man. It is the purpose of the nobles to protect the people and the church against all dangers, and to maintain peace and justice on earth. And the church, in turn, has the task of caring for the spiritual welfare of all, ensuring the salvation of their souls, and bringing solace to the people in times of hardship, so that they can endure their earthly trials and enter the kingdom of heaven.
But what's all that got to do with Johanka?
Well, I noticed in her first sermon she primarily addressed the concerns of the common folk, and in the second, she criticized the nobility.
Ah. So you think she might start talking about the church?
Yes, I'm afraid she might. I dread to think how that might end up. Henry, you must warn her against that. She must show humility before the Inquisitor, and the wisest course would be to admit to being wrong. She's rather stubborn, but perhaps she'll listen to you.
But the Inquisitor said no one's allowed to see her.
No one except the Inquisitor's own men. You'll just have to think something up. I'm afraid Johanka's fate is mainly in your hands now. I'm relying on you.
God be with you.
Witnesses can be summoned for Johanka's trial. So I wanted to ask you if you give a testimony. Maybe some learned speech in her defense?
I'd be glad to do it. Johanka deserves my help. Such testimonies could carry a lot of weight. You should try and get as many as you can.
Good luck, then.
Alright, that's one down. What else do we have? Bathwench Adela. Okay. And Sir Sebastian.
Adela, the Inquisitor is going to try Johanka in court.
Oh, Lord. I hope she's acquitted. I was absolutely devastated when they took her away.
I need people to speak in her defense, and I'd like to ask you to do it.
I don't want to go there. Really. I'm afraid of that Inquisitor. But You helped me, and so did Johanka. It's only right that I should try and help her. But what am I supposed to say there? I'm just a simple village girl. I don't know anything about these things.
That doesn't matter. You just be yourself. It should be enough to talk about all the good Johanka does here, and how she helps others. I'll send for you if you're needed.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, 2 down, and we'll talk to Sir Sebastian. Where's my horse here?
I'm at your service, Sir Knight.
I need something from you, sir. I suppose you heard that Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor and is facing charges of heresy.
I did, and it's most disturbing news.
What you might not know is that he's agreed that I can defend her at the trial.
You? Do you even know what to say?
Sure I know. It'll turn out just fine. Trust me. But I need you to testify at the court. In Johanka's defense, of course.
Naturally. You don't think I could just sit here and do nothing? Besides, the bishop has already insisted that I appear before the court.
Oh. All right.
One moment. I apologize if I was a little hasty. This whole affair has left me anxious. I appreciate that you want to defend her. However, I don't think it would have any effect. No offense, but I don't think you'll be able to achieve anything in court. I'm afraid the Inquisitor will judge as he sees fit, whatever anyone says. But I have an idea how you could help.
Oh? How's that?
Flee. With Johanka, of course.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sure Johanka will be acquitted by the court and everything will be all right. Running would just confirm the Inquisitor's suspicions, and she'd always be looking over her shoulder.
I don't agree. As I said, I don't believe you can affect the outcome of the court. If Johanka flees, yes, she'll have to lie low for a while, but in time it will all blow over. You can take her anywhere, as long as it's far enough from here. A girl like that will always find her feet. She can easily hide out somewhere where she's not known. Maybe there could even be a place for her on my estate. Think about it. But whatever you decide, if Johanka comes to any harm, you'll have me to answer to. I'm very fond of her, and her of me, and I don't want anything to happen to her, understand? But if everything ends well, I'll show you my gratitude, I assure you. Farewell.
Okay, that's 3 down. So let's go see Pavel next. And then we'll go and see the ones in Sasau there.
Yeah.
So the Inquisitor, so this is like an Inquisition.
Yeah.
When I think of Inquisition, Monty Python comes to mind. Skits for that. Okay, let's find Pavel here. No, that's not him. Perhaps inside.
Just as you ordered.
Oh, there he is.
Goodman Pavel, you're still here. That's a relief. I was afraid I'd miss you.
Yes, still here, but not for long. I had some business to deal with, but now that's out of the way and I'm getting ready to leave. What was it you wanted?
You might have heard that Johanka was arrested by the Inquisitor and is facing trial.
Indeed, word has reached me. Poor girl.
I'd like to ask you to speak to the court in Johanka's defense.
Of course, Henry. You have my word. And the word of a burgher of Colleen ought to mean something. But to speak in defense of someone accused of heresy is no small matter. What do you want me to say?
The same thing you told me. That it was a sacred sign that you happened to be nearby when Johanka was speaking, and so on.
True. I'll tell the bishop that. You can rest assured.
Thank you very much. Please wait here a few more days for the court to convene, then I'll send for you.
All right. For Johanka's sake, I'll wait. See you later.
Excellent. Okay, 4 down. Okay, so what do we have now? Buddha, that's the tailor's wife. Father Fabian. And what's this? Try to persuade Johanka to speak with humility. Bailiff. Okay, let's head into town. Perhaps a bailiff will let us talk to Johanka.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all back end of the town.
Yeah.
It's a feast for your eyes and your stomach. Hard to resist. You'll not find better meat anywhere.
Okay, I think the bailiff is in here. Let's see.
Master Bailiff, Inquisitor Yaroslav is going to try Johanka.
I know. He was here asking questions, too.
Oh? What did he want to know?
Various things. Like how things are here, whether people are honest, whether we observe the fest days, and so forth. And then he asked about Johanka, about what she preaches, whether people come to listen to her and that. He's been talking to a lot of other people in Sasau, too. I even heard that Katra, the swordsmith's wife, invited him to dine with them.
That's interesting. Thanks for telling me. Was he just asking questions, or does he want you to testify before the court?
Yes, he did ask me to testify, and I'm none too happy about it.
I see. And what are you going to say about her?
It depends what I'm asked, but there's not much I can say. I don't know Johanka very well. She seems virtuous and self-sacrificing to me. She's never done anything wrong, and no one here ever had a cross word to say about her, until recently. Maybe some gossip about her and Sir Sebastian, but I've heard similar talk about half the women folk here.
Now, that's just idle gossip. Johanka is a virtuous girl.
True. But then there's that preaching of hers. Folk have been falling out. They're split according to whether they believe Johanka or not. I don't know quite what to think of it myself. But I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'll wait and see what the learned bishop has to say.
So I can bribe him.
Thank you for speaking openly, Master Bailiff.
May the Lord watch over you.
Okay, and where is Johanka? She's in the back part. Can I go in the back part? Oh, it's locked. Is there a back entrance here? No, I don't see anything. This. Oh, this is the jail. Wonder how I'll get back there. can't really lockpick the door with them both sitting there.
God save Henry.
Well, how did it go with that husband of mine?
I played him and took him for everything he had.
I see. So he played again.
I had a heart-to-heart talk with him, and in the end, he promised he wouldn't gamble again. He even gave me his dice.
That sounds promising. Thank you, Henry. But what about the money he lost? Did you give it back to him?
Yeah, I gave it back to him so he can buy what he needs.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Henry.
I need your help with something. I'm sure you've heard. Johanka was locked up by the Inquisitor.
Who hasn't? The whole of Sasau is talking about it. And the Inquisitor was asking around about her.
I'd like to ask you to appear before the court and say something in Johanka's defense.
I can't say I'm keen on going there. But Johanka helped me. And you did too. I think it's only right that someone should say something good about her.
Ah, thanks, Guta. I appreciate it. I'll send for you when it's time.
Excellent. Okay, so we need to go over... wonder... He's still here. Don't really want to knock him out in order to sneak into Johanka there. So I'll just wait a bit. So I could bribe the bailiff. He really doesn't know too much about her, and that might backfire at the same time.
That donation to the church, did it help?
Indeed. Bonum commune is a prerequisite, if not the very meaning of existence of our Christian society. It expresses not only an interest in the common welfare and order, but also solidarity with the poor and needy. Once again, I thank you.
Father, the Inquisitor has had Johanka thrown in jail.
I know, son.
He's planning a hearing.
Rightly so. It's about time this whole matter was dealt with.
What do you think about it, then?
As I say, it's a good thing that the matter is being investigated. The things Johanka has been preaching are, to say the least, disturbing. Who knows what these dreams are that she speaks of? And her words are only putting ideas in people's heads and leading them astray. Now, instead of going to church, as they should, they go to her in the false belief that they will find solace. It's creating a chasm between the people and the church and leading them away from the true teaching left to us by Christ. They're misguided and swamped in heretical ideas.
But Johanka is only saying what the Virgin Mary has told her. What can be wrong with that?
And how do you know the Virgin is really talking to her?
Well, I believe she's telling the truth.
Ah, but you can't be sure, can you? Do you really think a girl from the stable knows God's teaching better than the church? Better than the generations of church fathers and learned scholars since the time of Christ, who have studied the sacred scriptures and their correct interpretation? With all the evil that's already going on in this province, the last thing people need is a false prophet.
Christ also came from a stable, though?
There's no comparison. Christ was the Son of God. Enough of this. Bishop Yaroslav asked me to present my suspicions before the court, and that's what I intend to do. He will then resolve the whole matter. He is, after all, more qualified than anyone to do so.
If you say so, Father.
See you later.
I don't think that went very well. And I don't think he really Like, I think he kind of looks down on the whole situation and sees her as a false prophet. Okay, let's have a look at that book. See if maybe that book that we were given will help us out. Okay. God and our Lord Jesus Christ forsake those men who prove themselves unworthy and give their treasures and riches to women according to the word. That God chose that which is weak to cast shame upon that which is strong. For men, when they excel at something, are excessively vainglorious, giving credit only to their own actions and forgetting our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, wives, virgins, and widows are elevated in our time, succumbing to discipline, living the most noble lives, and venerating the heavenly kingdom before men, who are occupied only with the vanities of this world. Therefore, women fill the churches, spend their time in prayer and listening to sermons, reject entertainments, vanities, and ostinations, and surpass men in devotion and love of Christ. Women think constantly of the concerns of our Lord, lingering in veneration until they brought to tears and nourish even more their love of Christ. Of course, he had to ring that bell when I was reading. In divine mercy and manifest visions and prophecies, women, I say, are 100 times more gifted than any man, and perhaps even priests. It seems, therefore, that the gift of prophecy and intimacy with the Holy Spirit is often bequeathed now to women. To them are relevant the great mysteries of God and great wisdom, as we know from the example of the acclaimed Virgin Hildegard, the saintly Bridget, and many other women who already comprise a procession. These have I seen in Paris, Rome, Nuremberg, and in Prague. Okay, so it sounds like he's claiming that women are more likely to have visions than men, even above priests, and that priest seems fairly self-righteous. Almost sounds like he's determined to see Johanka fail. Okay. So I have to try and get in and see Johanka.
From the yard or from the wood, lean and fatty.
Oh, okay, he's leaving too. Oh, he's locked the door. Had to lock the door, didn't you? Okay, that's fine. Sneak in from upstairs. Okay, am I in the right area? Is she back here? She doesn't seem to be here. Oh, maybe she's underneath in the jail. Okay.
Hey, clear off. No one's allowed to talk to Johanka. Bishop Yaroslav's orders.
I know. I was just testing you. And you passed. I'm with the bishop's entourage, and I'm here at his command. Let me in to talk to Johanka.
In that case, you surely know that everyone who comes from the bishop has to show a document to prove it.
Good, good. Your diligence is commendable. I don't have the document on me at present, though. I left it at the monastery.
Sorry, sir. We'll have to go and get it. I can't let you in otherwise. I wouldn't want to anger the Monsignor.
Of course. And you can actually read, can you?
A little, sir, yes. That's why they put me here.
Very wise. You're clearly the right man for the job. Very well. I'll be back soon with that paper.
I'll see you later.
Okay. So I need to go over and see about getting that paper.
Your stomach. It's hard to resist. You'll not find better meat anywhere.
Okay, the swordsmith's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here about Johanka.
You're that fella of hers, are you? What do you want?
No. I'm just a friend of hers. Matthias is her, fella.
Huh. God knows how many she has.
I heard you invited Bishop Yaroslav to come and dine with you?
Yes, so what? Bishop Yaroslav is an esteemed visitor to Sasau, and it's only fitting he should be suitably hosted by devout burghers.
And what did you talk about?
What we discussed with the Monsignor is none of your business.
What have you got against Johanka?
Nothing. The question is, what has she got against us? Tell me that.
What?
She turns up here and tries to tell us how to live our lives. Says the Virgin Mary whispers to her in the night. Yeah, I'm sure. To a simple village wench. I'd like to know who's really putting those ideas in her head. She's just getting people all worked up. Men, especially. Coming around here with her nonsense. Sasau is a decent, orderly place, I'll have you know. We don't want any trouble here. All this talk about hellfire and the end of the world. God have mercy. No one is interested in what she has to say. All they want is some spectacle. She ought to have thought twice before she started. Not that she wasn't warned.
What do you mean, warned?
As I said, she was told.
Tell me everything you know. I represent the royal hetman, so don't try and keep anything from me.
If you must know, some of the fellas want to have it out with her and tell her to stop. No one wants her speeches here. But would she listen? No. The devil possessed her to bring harm to us.
So it was you who sent those men?
All I wanted was to protect the Sasau folk against her poisonous tongue. And I'll do just that. The Monsignor asked me to testify in court. And I'll tell everything I know there.
And I'll do likewise. Farewell.
Go. God be with you. God preserve you. Good night. Can I do something for you? God be with you.
Geez, she's kind of a piece of work. Maybe I'll get some repairs while I'm here.
God's blessings. What can I do for you? Good luck, lad.
Wow. Pretty much everything was damaged. Okay, so I've got to head up to the church here once more, or the monastery. Just a fancy name for a bigger church. Now I wonder where I can get that document. Let's see. Can you help me out, brother?
Do you believe Johanka is really being visited by the Virgin Mary?
Well, yes, Henry, I do. The things she says and the way she speaks. She doesn't sound like herself at all. I know she can't read, so where else could she have got it? Frankly, I can't think of any other explanation. Within the bounds of this world.
Who is this Bishop Yaroslav?
I've never heard of him before, but the prior has. He said he's very well learned and the Bishop of Sarepta.
Sarepta? Where's that, Moravia?
No, it's far, far away, near the Holy Land. He got the title from the Holy Father himself.
And this bishop came all the way here from whatever.
Sarepta, but I doubt he's ever been there. It used to be a bishopric in the days of the Apostolic Fathers in Phoenicia, near Israel, but it was ransacked by the Muslims. Now it's just a titular bishopric. And Yaroslav is the titular bishop.
Titular bishop? Like he's not a real one?
It's, let's say, an honorary title. It refers to a diocese that no longer exists. And since a titular bishop has no diocese to oversee, he can devote himself to handling other very important church affairs, like ordaining other prelates, for example, to maintain succession through the centuries down from the time of Christ and his apostles.
What exactly does an inquisitor do?
The Inquisition is a papal institution that deals with heresy, so people don't succumb to charlatans, false prophets and deceptions, and put their faith and their immortal souls in jeopardy. The Inquisitors have all sorts of powers, the kind we here can do very little to stand up to.
And what can he do to Johanka?
I'm not entirely sure. These legal issues are very complicated, but he could certainly excommunicate her, and maybe even sentence her to death.
What actually happened here?
Johanka told me you went to Auschwitz?
Yeah? What's that got to do with anything?
The Inquisitor showed up here not long after you left. Apparently he heard about Johanka's preaching somehow. He even observed one of her sermons outside the town in disguise. He had her brought to him and spent a long time trying to discourage her from what she was doing. But then she went out again to preach about her visions outside of town. But before she even started, the Inquisitor turned up with Fabian and the guards. He said Johanka had ignored his outright ban, and he had her taken away. Then he warned the people there that Johanka was spreading heresy and undermining the church's authority, and forbade them to listen to her.
That's all? Didn't you speak to the Inquisitor?
No, actually I didn't. He saw me there listening to her preaching, and I was afraid to come forward and talk to him.
Aha. Well, that's understandable.
Thanks.
It sounds pretty serious.
It is. I'm afraid it could be very serious indeed.
What actually happened here? Yeah?
The Inquisitor showed up. Apparently he heard about he had her brought to him and but then she went out. But before she even... Then he warned the people there.
It sounds pretty serious.
It is. I'm afraid it could be very serious indeed.
Take care.
Okay. So that paper. Shouldn't really pickpocket him. That would be extremely bad. Okay. So actually this video is gone on for about an hour now, and I really should finish up at this point. I'm not really sure how long the trials and such will take, and I do have to do a bit of searching in order to find the document so I can get in to speak to Johanka. So with those things combined, the video could become very long if I don't end it at this point. So I'm actually just going to save it. And if there are any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And otherwise, as always, thanks a lot for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you in the next video.